Hello and welcome to the EURAKNOS podcast. I'm Laura Palczynski and I'm joined today by Davino and Hercules, who are working on the platform being developed in EURAKNOS and being further developed in the Eureka project.
All right, so my name is Davino. I'm working with Leap Forward Group, responsible for designing the platform. So this means the user experience and user interface. And we're also involved in a few other tasks, mostly focused on researching the end user needs for the platform.
Thank you. And Hercules, a little bit about yourself.
Yes, thank you, Laura. So my name is Hercules. I'm a research associate at the Agricultural University of Athens. We are involved in the part of the platform-related work that has to do with what takes place behind the curtains. You know, the conceptual design of the repository, the development of the data model that instructs the way in which data will actually be integrated into the repository. And for some time now, we have been involved in the annotation of the data to be provided through our platform with metadata, and of course the storage of the data into the repository.
Great, thank you both. So do I understand correctly that Hercules, you're kind of the function behind the front-facing user interface, which is more Davino's area?
Exactly. There is, of course, a substantial amount of work related to the design and development of the user interface, because this is what the user actually sees, but we need not to forget that there is also a substantial amount of work that needs to take place in the background. So if you do not have a robust design of your system, then you cannot actually serve the needs of your end users.
Great. So maybe go back a step. Why are we developing this platform? Why is it needed?
Well, yes, I guess that this is the €1 million question. We certainly need to provide a rationale behind this effort, because there are so many platforms, so many data repository systems that have been developed and made available not only in the context of other European projects, but also from international organizations and the European Commission itself. The idea is to provide, in order to put it in simple words, a central point of access to the agricultural community, and this central point of access relates to content, to information available in digital format that relates to agriculture, and in EURAKNOS more specifically to what takes place in this specific category of projects that are called thematic networks. In a few words, this is the main purpose: a central point of access that the community will know that exists and can turn to it in order to have the information and content needed.
Yeah, maybe to add to what Hercules was saying, we're trying to solve one big issue, and that's the fact that a lot of the information that's being fed to farmers all across Europe is spread over a number of repositories, mostly led by thematic networks. The issue with thematic networks is they have a limited time span. So after X number of years, mostly 4 years, the project ends and all of the data is stuck in repositories that have been developed and are not updated anymore. So our effort in EURAKNOS is to make one central database that ensures a longer lifetime of the information being accessible, being updated, being used in the future. This is like the main issue we're trying to solve.
Great, thank you. So obviously, as I mentioned at the start, the work on this platform development sort of started with EURAKNOS and is now being continued with the Eureka project, which will continue into next year, whereas EURAKNOS is finishing this year. So tell me a bit about what was initially set to be achieved in EURAKNOS and how that's being built on in Eureka.
It is important to stress that EURAKNOS and Eureka are closely related to each other. They're each other's cousins in the sense that EURAKNOS is directed at a certain type of multi-actor projects, which are thematic networks, and Eureka will go beyond the thematic networks to include all types of multi-actor projects currently running in the European Union or the ones that are being started in the next few years. First of all, in EURAKNOS, we've come to the conclusion that integrating the data from all of these different repositories poses a lot of technical issues. So our initial ambition to really focus on a very broad platform with a lot of functionality for the end users has shifted a bit towards trying to solve this data issue, the issue of integrating the data in this central repository. Now, already almost a year into the Eureka project, we have a better view on, okay, what would end users expect from a platform, a central platform like Eureka platform will be. And we're only now integrating a broad set of end user functionalities. In the Eureka project, we're now in the midst of designing the user interface and a future vision for the user interface. So these two parts of the project should come together in the beginning of next year.
Great, thanks, Davina. Anything to add to that, Hercules?
Yes, I would certainly like to echo what Davino has just mentioned. EURAKNOS and Eureka are two sibling projects, so the intention has been from the very first beginning that Eureka would build upon what EURAKNOS has currently put into progress. For example, the stack of technologies that is being used in EURAKNOS is a legacy work to Eureka as well. Of course, given the fact that the scope of Eureka is to gather content from a superset of European projects than in the case of EURAKNOS. I mean, EURAKNOS deals with thematic networks. Eureka deals with multi-actor projects in general. The final, let's say, number of knowledge objects or data objects, say it any way you like, in the repository will be bigger in the case of Eureka. Of course, in order to do so, we may have to proceed to some slight adaptations to our design, but these adaptations will not be painful and will not require that much time. We will be able to provide, in the end of the Eureka project, a more robust system than that of EURAKNOS. The system built in EURAKNOS serves more as a proof of concept that this system can actually be built. And of course, in the context of this process, we have indeed found ourselves in the position to trying to find solutions for a number of problems that were probably not anticipated from the beginning of that effort. So yes, we intend to be able to provide in the end of Eureka a final product that could be fully fledged and could be there available to the community for a long time.
Great. So that is the farm book, that right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Davino, in terms of making this user interface really user friendly, how do you go about doing that?
In EURAKNOS, we actually, in my opinion, didn't put enough emphasis on this in the project's proposal. So what we can take with us from the EURAKNOS project is we have done some co-creation workshops with members of the KIP, which is the Knowledge Innovation Panel. This was done in Budapest already over 1 year ago. And out of this workshops came a number of recommendations. Second asset we have built is a vision paper, which has been made in co-creation with our Strategic Innovation Board, so the SIP, high quality experts focused on, okay, what should the vision be? And in Eureka, we've actually have a whole work package focused on these end user requirements. Eureka is coming to an end. So what we have now as an asset is we have A, the recommendations from Budapest, B, the vision paper provided to us by the Strategic Innovation Board, and the research that has been done in work package 2 of Eureka on the end user requirements. That does not fully answer your question on how do we go about it. So what we've done in the work package in Eureka focused on end user requirements, we have a 3-step process there actually. So first we started with qualitative research, with interviews. So we've interviewed different types of end users. These could be farmers, this could be advisors, this could be coordinators of multi-actor projects. We've interviewed a lot of people to really decide on, okay, what do they, the people we are interviewing, feel the platform should do? What type of information should it give? What type of functionalities should be included, etc. We took these insights based on the interviews, and we translated it to quantitative research, so towards a survey that we've sent out to over 2,000 people. So 2,000 people have answered a survey with a lot of questions to really validate if these insights provided to us by the interviews are indeed correct. That's the second part. So we're now finishing that part of the project. In the third phase, that's where we are now, we are combining all of these insights and we're translating this into actual product requirements. So product requirements are, say, a wish list of features. This wish list we are now prioritizing. So we put a value on each functionality in the wish list. I'm going to take an easy one as an example, but let's say a login module. As a user, I want to log in and I want to make sure that everything the platform offers me is personalized to my needs and to my wishes. And so this functionality, of course, is very valuable for the end user. So we place a high value on this, and we mix the high value with the estimation we're making for the effort to build it. Because you should know, we are in, let's say, a fixed budget, variable scope type of project, which means is the budget has been allocated before we actually know what we were going to build. So now we're trying to build a matrix of the value of a certain functionality combined with the effort it's going to take. So now we're in the process of estimating a lot of these functionalities and figuring out, okay, what is feasible in the resources and the time we have left in Eureka platform. So the last step will be then this estimation and the actual development. So that, I hope, answers part of your question. Then the only question left there is, okay, what will happen for the functionalities we won't be able to build? These we will already design some concept flows for, and we will feed this into the project as a future vision for Eureka and a recommendation for, let's say, a follow-up projects to Eureka on what to add, what to change, or how to build on what we're doing today in the future.
Great. Once you've got this platform and you've tried to make it as user-friendly as you can within the budget and time restraints, how easy do you think it will be to then attract users to make use of the platform once it's there?
That's a very good question. Hercules, would you venture a guess?
Yes, well, it takes, I guess, a lot of communication and dissemination activities to, showcase this effort and the output of this effort to members of the community. However, I'm thinking many times that this may not be enough. I mean, just showcasing something may not be enough to persuade someone to actually use it. When undertaking these dissemination activities, provided that you stick to the added value that this product has, then this can certainly serve as a motive for someone to test out the product. And I guess that the word of mouth is the best way to persuade someone to actually give a try to such a system. By having a core group of people in the agricultural community that could, let's say, act as believers of this system, then by counting upon network effects, these believers could spread the news to their contacts and these contacts to other contacts of theirs and so on. And by this way, we could, let's say, have something as a tsunami effect that would help us not only to communicate this effort to the community, but to actually have people who will use this system. Because apart from resources that are indeed needed in order to keep this effort alive after the end of both projects, such artifacts remain available to the community when a robust community has been built around them. So if we have people that believe in this system and people who will actually contribute to this effort by providing content, by updating content. This is something that Davino mentioned earlier, because just putting content into a repository is the beginning of the journey. We all know very well that in this digital era that we are all living content gets outdated very soon. So it is very important to have a group of people gathered around this effort, search as a community that will help to get this system forward. And I think that this will be a core part to actually have people using this system in addition to the communication and dissemination efforts I mentioned earlier.
What I maybe would love to add here is that a major part of both the EURAKNOS and Eureka projects are actually focused on research. So researching the feasibility, researching the desirability, designing the concept of the platform as a result. We have gone quite in depth into this research. So we've come into contact, we've researched a lot of hundreds, in fact, there are hundreds of these projects, so that it's a very big scope, and it will probably require a follow-up project really focused on the exploitation of the platform. So what we foresee is that we will put everything in the starting blocks. The platform will be developed. It will be able to use the platform, but really focusing on the exploitation, it should be the effort of a follow-up project.
And just a reminder for our listeners, when can we look forward to the farm book being launched?
We are launching the proof of concept for EURAKNOS already beginning next year, but this is only set up as a proof of concept, so it probably won't be publicly available just yet. It will take us, I estimate, another 5 to 6 months before we will have something publicly operational. So let's say mid of 2021, we will be inviting end users and other projects on a broader scale than just the ones we are using as a pilot.
Great. Well, we look forward to seeing the result of your hard work.
What I can say is that we are going to make quite a lot of noise when this, pilot events will be scheduled, because we would certainly like to have the lights, let's say, of publicity turned towards our side in order to attract some considerable attention within the community.
Well, thank you both for taking the time.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you very much, Laura. It was very nice discussing with you about these concepts.
The EURAKNOS project has received funding from the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Programme under Grant Agreement number 817863.
Royalty-free music from Ben Sound.